Hello, everyone. It's me, Andrew. I'm here in my home in lovely Ligonier, Pennsylvania. Hopefully, you all are having a great week so far. I got some good news today. I got into one of the classes that I was trying to get into at the Baltimore Jewelry Center. So I'm super excited about that. I don't know if I should be saying that yet because I always get nervous when the ink is still fresh, as they say. Um, but fingers crossed, it seems to have gone through. So I'm super excited about that. Hopefully, you all are having a lovely summer solstice, first day of summer. Um, I don't know how you all are planning to commemorate or celebrate or observe that. Usually, we have a little fire, but William has a class this evening, and I've got some work to catch up on. So we'll see if I can swing over to the cottage for a fire. And, that's a nice way to kind of celebrate the season and be in tune with things, I think. I think a lot of times we've gone away from being in tune with the seasons because we've moved away from agrarian cultures. And anyways, so I think it's nice to kind of, be mindful of the spinning of the world and all that fun stuff. So, anyways, hopefully, if you celebrate, you're able to do something festive. If not, then, whatever. So, for today, I thought it would be good to show another CB basic. It's called Chenille Stitch. Um, and I have to admit that I've done it before, but it's been a while, so I'm maybe a little bit rusty, so bear with me. But hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes well, and it's not too much of a, too terrible. But anyways, I think it's a really lovely thing. I hope you all have been enjoying our extra time together. We've been doing more tutorials and things like that, and I've been enjoying it, but hopefully y'all enjoy it as well. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it, you know. I see a couple people have tuned in. Marianne's watching. Hi, Marianne. Norma's watching. Hi, Norma. Julie's watching. Hey, Julie. Julie says, been outside all day, sun in the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Tacoma area. Oh, great. Yeah, it's been kind of overcast and a little bit dreary. Also kind of humid, like super humid. So um, here, um, so that's not been my favorite, but you know. It's not as hot as it could be. Yesterday, I got some roses and I wanted to plant them, but I get nervous to drive our van because the one tire, uh, I had a flat tire and we punctured the tire and we patched it, and then the patch failed. So we patched it again. William patched it again, and it seems to be holding air okay. But I just don't want to risk it, because then I'm on the side of the road, and then that's not ideal. Where if people try to call me or message me while I'm on, it will like say no, because sometimes people try to call while I'm doing the live, and that's less than ideal. I think it interrupts people. But anyway, so um yeah, so what was I saying? It done went away. So I see a couple more folks have tuned in. Carla's watching. Hey, Carla. Harry's watching. Hey, Harry. Um, and so, yeah, so I don't know what I was saying. Oh, well, it goes away. Um, so we've been super busy here getting things lined up. I found out that my brooch, the Many Faces brooch that I made, which is in a show in Memphis, got they did a write up of the show in the Memphis Flyer, which is a local newspaper to there, and they used the image of my brooch, so that was super exciting. Yeah, so that was nice. I always like the idea of my work getting out into the world and hopefully reaching people. That's always nice. One of the so nice things, one of the super nice things that happened after the show is a woman reached out to me who is a mentor for a fellowship, a summer fellowship for young teen artists who are BIPOC. And so they went to see the show, and that was so nice of them to write me after they saw the show, and they said they liked the piece. And I talked a little bit more about the piece, so that was nice. I hopefully my hope in ever showing my work is that it will connect with somebody out there who sees it, and depending on what the thing is hopefully will inspire somebody maybe who was like me, who didn't necessarily see themselves represented in galleries or museums or anything like that, and say, you can do this. You can live a life where you make artwork, and um, it's possible. Your story matters. You matter. Um, what you have to say matters. So, and I always like the idea that my pieces will help encourage others to keep doing what they love to do. And yeah, hopefully. You never know. I think sometimes as an artist, a lot of times if that's your bread and butter, you're in your studio a lot. Hopefully, I don't know. Some people don't spend a lot of time in their studio, but I like to think that if you're an artist and you're in your studio, you're spending time in your studio. But the downside of that oftentimes is that you're alone. So, for me, I have a lot of ideas in my head while I'm making things. I think of stories of my childhood. I think of fairy tales. I listen to audiobooks. So it's very connected to this kind of narrative stream. Um, but oftentimes I'm alone. And so you never know if what you have to say will connect to anybody. You never know. And sometimes it feels like you're shouting into the wind. And if you've been watching, you've probably heard me say that expression a couple of times or two. Um, and it's true. Sometimes you don't know if what you have to say is reaching people or not. So it's always nice to have that confirmation that somebody saw what you put out into the world and they appreciate it. So that was such a nice little message to get. And I feel fortunate that I was able to participate in the show. And yeah, so I feel super lucky. I see a couple people have said things. Heather's joining in. Hey, Heather. Very humid and hot inside watching y'all. Oh, good. Well, hopefully it's not too hot. And Carla was talking about the patch tire. Oh, the patch tire. I was talking about the patch tire. So we patched the tire, and I have not been comfortable driving it. And while we were having the tire patched, John, who is our tenant in the one building, he was saying that we would probably need to get our tires completely replaced soon. And we kind of knew that we had to do it eventually, um, because the last inspection we had, they said that it was coming time soon. So the fact that we have a punctured tire now and it's been patched, it means we probably, it's the writing's on the wall. You know, it's there. It's like now is the time. And so I'm going to have a sale on my personal timeline um, soon. I was hoping to do it last night, but I got a little bit backlogged because I had to submit my pieces for a regional show, and it took a little bit longer than I thought it would. And then by the end of the evening, I was wiped out. So I did not get to do that yet, but it's coming soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Um, Barbara's watching. Hi, Barbara. Cheryl's watching. Hi, Cheryl. Barbara says, the pearl piece is fire, especially with how you've told the story behind it. Love the self-portrait pieces. I see that as a really self-introspective series through self-portraiture and metals. Yeah, it's been really wonderful to be able to do that. I started that series when I was an artist in residence at Contemporary Craft. I had this idea that I was going to do something completely different. Um, and then I ended up doing those. So I started at there. I didn't finish a lot of pieces, but I got a lot of the bones finished. And the other kind of thing that I was hoping to get out of being at the residency, which I did, was they have a hydraulic press there. And I had never really used a hydraulic press before that. A couple of demonstrations and stuff before, but I wasn't 100% on how to use it. So I was able to learn how to use the hydraulic press and eventually get my own. We drove to Kentucky to get it, so that was nice. It was actually a good trip, a short trip, but a good one. Um, and so I started the self portrait series there, and I also learned how to use a hydraulic press. There's still more to learn. There's this book that I want. It's called with something forming with a hydraulic press for jewelry makers, but we'll see. You know, I have so many books, but it's so weird because sometimes like uh, something will be like $20. I'll be like, no, I don't need it. It's too much. And then then I don't know. Anyway, so the imaginary rules we tell ourselves. William hopped on. He said, Creative Make Along is this Friday. Who's joining us? Sodalite is the challenge mix we're basing it off of. Now, if you don't know, we do a Zoom make along so so everybody can get together, hang out, and make stuff together. And that's going to be this Friday. So if you didn't get one of the design challenge mixes, it's probably too late now to get it in time for Friday because we're still catching up on shipping. But yeah, no. Yeah, William asked if I fed the kittens. I said no. I've been rushing around getting ready for this. So Friday is the creative make along. And the link is it's on the website in the events section. Maybe I'm making stuff up. Either way, we'll post it again in the design challenge group, the Allegory Gallery Design Challenge group. If you're not a member of that, I recommend doing that. Now, there is a little bit of a change that we recently had to do in the group. And so for the longest time, we've kept it open and public. And for a while, that was not a problem. People posted, it was fun, whatever. But as the group has grown, we're almost at 1,000 people in that group. We've gotten more spammers. So it got so bad to the point where I was seeing, and sometimes what they do is they block the moderators, so the moderators can't see stuff. Um, so Yeah, that's not awesome. But so so I went into the group and there's all these things that are like these fake celebrity death articles and stuff. And they're not real and they're kind of clickbait and potentially spam. And who knows what, they'll do once they get you to go over there. I think they call that a phishing scheme. I don't know all about that, but I know it's not great. So if you see see a post about a celebrity dying, don't necessarily click it right away. I would suggest maybe go over and do a Google search or a Bing or whatever and see if it comes up, because you don't want to be clicking on stuff and then then all of a sudden you have to replace all your credit cards. Um, Anyways, so those were popping up more, and then there's some site in China or something, Timu, and Sheen something, and we were getting all the spam stuff for those sites. So that was not great. So what we ended up having to do is enable post approval. And so we don't get so many posts that it's cumbersome. Like it's not to the point where we get hundreds of posts every day that we have to go through and moderate, but we did want to put that on there to protect our community. So you can still post in that group, and I encourage you to do that 100%. It may take a little bit for your post to show up, depending on if William and I are able to approve your post right away or not. So it might take a couple hours if we're away from our computers or phones or whatever. So just keep that in mind. So if you join the group or you have joined the group and you click and you post something and it doesn't show up right away, that's what's happening. So we'll end up posting the link to the Zoom to the Creative Make Along on Friday, and that will be fun, I think. It's wild to think that it's that time again. Now, if you didn't get the Sodalite challenge mix and you're like, I still want to play along, you can still hang out with us. We're not going to kick you out and say, no, you cannot hang out with us. It is a good kind of rallying point for us to kind of get together and make things together and have a good excuse to do it. But I'm not going to be a stickler if you don't have your Sodalite kit or mix and be like, you can't play along. You can't sit here. Go away, little stray. I'm not going to say that. So if you want to hang out with us, you are more than welcome to. It's on Zoom. Usually it's around 2 hours or so. You can come and go. We try to broadcast it to the group, to the design challenge group. So you will be able to maybe see it there if you're in the design challenge group. If you are not on Facebook and you're not on the design challenge group and you don't want to hang out in the Zoom, then you can't see it, unfortunately. Somebody's like, well, why don't you put it on YouTube? And it's like, well, not everybody wants to be on camera for the world. So we kind of keep it more intimate that way. So hopefully you'll hang out with us on Friday and that'll be fun. And says she's planning on coming. Oh, good. Julie says the color of your AG shirt looks very nice on you. Oh, thanks. Thanks. We made these, well, we sold them for a while, but it got kind of a headache to do it. But we have a whole rainbow of these shirts. And now I don't ever have to think about what I'm going to wear. I can just put on an AG shirt and call it a day. Usually this color kind of makes me look sick, but oh well, I don't care. Cindy says hello. Hi, Cindy. Paula's watching. Hi, Paula. Barbara says, just do it now and it'll be done by winter. Pain in the and yeah, I'm thinking she's talking about the tires. Yeah, we definitely have to 100%. They're not going to make it through winter. So we are going to have a sale, a timeline sale, and hopefully make some extra money. The tires, William, he stopped by our tire place. They're super great, super reliable, super kind. They try to work with us to make things possible. One time I forgot my wallet. It was so embarrassing. And I like sat there for like an an hour or so until William could come, or one of our helpers came and dropped off my wallet. But I was all like, but anyway, so they were super cool and not like, where's my money? You can't leave. But anyway, so we have to save up or make some money for the tires. We know we also have to do the smaller car too, but we're going to try to put that off until a little bit later, depending on how much money we make during the sale. Cindy said that she liked and shared the post. Thank you so much. We always appreciate when folks boost the signal. Norma says, forgot about the make along. I have a conflicts next 7 Fridays. I'm in the Outlander season 7 watch party with friends. I'll miss making along with everyone. Well, that's a shame. We always look forward to seeing you, Norma, but I'm sure there'll be other opportunities to hang out. We have to reschedule. We have to like schedule a book club, and I think we're going to combine the last 2 books. So the last 2 books are The Witch's Night by Paula and Trevor Braxton, and the other one is Louisiana Long Shot by Jana DeLeon. And I think she just came out with a new one yesterday in that series. So I'm excited if they did. We started listening to all the series. The only problem about when we listen to audiobooks together is that I go through audiobooks like Pringles. I just pop them in, keep going one after the other, no stopping. And generally speaking, so sometimes what I do is I look at how long an audiobook is, and I'll turn on the audiobook. And if it's like an 8-hour book, then when it ends, then I know it's time to stop. Because sometimes if I don't have a stopping point, I just keep working and working. And then William was like, where are you? And then I'll have my phone turned on. And then he's like, did you get abducted? And then I was like, who's going to abduct me? I'd be like the slowest one in the sweatshop. No, it's not going to happen. But anyway, well, who knows? Maybe they need organs. My organs are probably ruined, so I don't want to encourage that. But, you know, who knows? Anyway, so yes, we listened to that second book together, and there's like 2 hours left before it ends. And I'm like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And so we need to go on a trip or something. I need to be like, hey, let's drive down to some random place. I need to pick something up, and then have him drive me so we can actually listen to the audiobook. Because I'm dying to hear what happens to Sandy Sue and all them. I laughed so hard in the one book, I almost blacked out. Anyways, so Barbara says, I might try to tune in. The weather here is garbage this week, and I have 3 weeks before my next pop-up. So I feel like I have time to sit and chat and create. Oh, good. Well, if you're getting ready for a show, I always like to put things together that I can kind of like mindlessly work on. I that's probably not the right word. It's not mindlessly because I try to be mindful whenever I'm making my work. However, there are certain tasks that require more thinking, like active thinking, and there's some tasks that require more passive thinking. And so sometimes when I'm getting ready for a show and I have to do like a social thing, I'll bring the passive thinking thing with me and I can just work on it while I'm talking. And then it doesn't feel I'm not like, hold up, wait 1 second while I try to figure this out. Um, and so I need activity. And so if we ever hang out and I like bust out a project, it's not because I'm trying to like avoid you or like not talk to you or something. It's just because I like to keep my hands busy. Like we had lunch with our friend at Phipps the other day, and I like busted out the color pencils and the paper, and we were drawing flowers that we saw. And I like that. I think that's fun. So anyway, um, Amanda says, which book series are you talking about? So it's our June book. It's called Louisiana Long Shot by Jana DeLeon. And they're the Misfortune Mysteries. So they're fun. I mean, they're not, if you're looking for something that's like deep, cerebral, literary fiction, this is not it. These are kind of fun, if you have the similar sense of humor that I do, you may find yourself laughing yourself hoarse at certain points. Um, so if William's still watching, um, he can drop a link to the books, or I can do it after. Marion says that she's on book 4. I didn't even know they went that far. Yeah, we're on book 2, and I might just have to do it. I just might have to pull the trigger and finish it without William. I'll write down where he left off, but I don't know how much longer I can wait. One of the other things that I did, I was listening to this book, and it was like these two gentlemen during Downton Abbey times, and they're magicians and getting up to solving a mystery. And then, of course, William comes in, and they started to have exploring their feelings in a very bodily way. And he's like over here because we have two desks that kind of face each other, and of course they're getting down to Pound Town. And when he's in here, and he's like, what kind of books are you listening to? All you listening to these hussy books? And I was like, this not it. I didn't know. It's not like I knew that this was gonna happen. This is the first time I listened to it. But anyways, there's a whole lot of throbbing this and throbbing that, and I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. But anyways, so that's a book called A Marvelous Light, if you're interested in that. But anyways, so here we go. Y'all are probably tired of, oh, Marion said there's 24 books. I don't know if I knew that. Holy smokes. Yeah, that's fun. I'm definitely not going to wait for William. If I waited for William to finish all 24 books, we'd be like, uh, I don't know. They're going to be digging the hole for our grave and still not finish the book series. So anyways, I'm not going to wait. I made a decision. I'm not going to wait. So I'm going to flip this around. You're going to see the ceiling for a second, and then a second as I try to fiddle with this stuff. And then you'll see, I'm going to show you kind of what I worked on yesterday that I did off camera. I didn't finish it because I was doing that application for that regional show. So, yeah. So I'm going to flip this around, and you're going to see the ceiling for a second, and then I'm going to flip on the back camera. You can see our mess. right. So in yesterday's live, I showed how to make an amulet bag. And so I kept going with this pattern and I added a little bit more of the size sixes. You can see where I started bringing them in and then where I didn't get a chance to do it at the top here. So I have to go back through and then just run a thread through here and kind of tighten that up. Um, and what I did also is I had some size 8 seed beads, and they just so happened to fit into where one size 6, and that's in theory not supposed to happen. But I added a row of that, and then with this, I added a row. I went and did the doubles, and then I broke it down to singles, and then I stitched it up at the bottom. And then so I added this kind of like brick stitch at the bottom, but instead of going into a thread bridge at the bottom, I went into the seed beads, and then I'm going to add this fringe, which I'm currently adding. I keep seeing something, and there might be. And need to get anyway. So this is our little amulet bag that we started yesterday, and then I'm going to maybe make a chenille stitch necklace to go with it. You know, why not? So this is what we worked on yesterday. I showed this. This is an even count tubular peyote stitch that I folded down and then stitched together. And I think it's pretty cool. You can kind of see the light at the bottom. That's not ideal, but actually that's not too bad. So, I mean, I do have to go back through and tighten up some stitches and finish off the fringe, but I'll keep doing that. All you do to do this fringe, if you're curious, is if you have your working thread, you just run it through, then you pick up your beads, you pick up your dagger, and then you run back up through your seed beads only, and then you go back down through, and then you pick up the seed beads, and you pick up a dagger, then you run that back up through. And the dagger acts as a stop bead. And they're a little bit wonkadoodle, like that they're kind of off to the center, like this one. You can see because the holes in this, it wants to have it like this. So once I string all this up, I adjust it. And what I also like to do is I like to run another thread after I get finished working this fringe, and run another thread and then go back through and repeat that so that this is a little bit stronger. And when I do that, I try to go, if I see that if, for example, if this dagger is coming off like this, then I try to take the thread when I go down and go on the other side and pass back through. And what that does is it's kind of like a counterbalance. And so it will hopefully help it stay where that fringe terminates on this dagger at the tippy tip instead of off on the side where the hole is. So that's the goal when I do that. Also, it makes it a little bit stronger too. So I like that as well. I kind of wanted to keep going and then turn this into like a little frog critter friend, and then have this be the mouth and then have little arms dangling or whatever. But there's a wonderful artist who just recently passed away. Her name is Sharon Church, and she taught over in near Philadelphia area. And she has this amazing brooch that she made of a frog, and it's like photorealistic. And I don't know if it's carved wood or whatever, but it was pretty cool. So I was like, I like that. So who knows? That's an idea. A seed beaded frog. I doubt I'm the first person to come up with that. So who knows? But I don't really get a lot of time to seed bead because it takes so much longer than some of the other stuff I make. So it's a real joy to kind of spend time doing it again, because I haven't really, I don't always get a chance to work on it as much. We're so busy and doing so many things that I don't always get a chance to do it. So it's been nice to revisit seed beading. And today we're going to do a project. Of course, because I'm at the house and not at the cottage, all my beads are mostly there. So we're going to have to wing it. We need at least 2 colors. I'm going to show on size 6. I'm going to show on using size 6 seed beads because it's a little bit easier to see on camera. I was playing around using size 11s earlier, and I looked at the camera and I could hardly see it. So if I do end up filming this for like YouTube or something, we're going to get the big camera out and zoom way, way, way in. But otherwise, I thought it would be easier if you all could see it that way. So I don't really have 2 colors of seed beads. So I found this mix. So I'm just going to kind of cherry pick out. And you'll be like, why don't you just have William get you some? Yeah, well, hindsight's 2020. So that's a mess, but it will be nice because then I can kind of pick up what I need as I'm working. And what I'm going to also do is there are certain beads that you need more of than with the there's an accent bead, and then there's like the main event bead. So I'm going to use these ones mostly for accent beads, and then that way I don't run out. All right. So I've got some of this fire line, and it's an 8-pound test. These are a little bit bigger beads, so you do need a little bit of a heavier thread. I'm also going to use the size 10, but you could also use a size 12 beading needle. If you need these things and we don't have them on the website, just email us at info@allegorygallery.com. I wouldn't recommend doing that if you need it like the next day, because it's, we are a small kind of operation, so that doesn't always work out like that. But if you need it and you want to buy it from a small business, you can always hit us up at the info@allegorygallery.com address, and we'll do our best to help you out. All right, so I have strung my needle. I've got my beads laid out, and then what I'm going to do is I kind of like that root beer color, so I might pick this up. So I'm picking up 1, 2 of these root beer colored beads, and I'm going to walk them down near the end of my thread here. All right. Not all the way down. I want to leave myself a little bit of a tail so that I can walk them back through. I'm going to hold them between my thumb and forefinger so they don't run around the mountain time. I'm going to pick up 2 more of those root beer colored beads. Since I'm coming up out of this one, I'm going to go and take the needle and pass this back up through the 2 that I just strung. All right. And the goal is to have them sit side by side like so. All right. So they should sit kind of next to each other. It's not going to be perfect. This is going to be kind of a variation on a herringbone stitch. So just keep that in mind. I know sometimes you want things to sit certain ways, but just because that you want it doesn't mean it's going to necessarily happen. So I had that thread coming up through there. So I passed that back down the 2 beads from the last row that I had. I'm going to go back up through the first row of beads. And that just makes a loop and connects everything together. It makes it nice and sturdy. The reason why I'm keeping this, go through this more times than I normally would, is because this is the first one that I did, and I don't want it to be the weakest link. So just going back through those a couple passes helps really tighten it up. So I'm going to go back down through the second row. And then I'm going to pick up 2 more beads for the third row. And this is how you get this started. So I'm coming down through the second row. So I'm going to go down through the top and out through the bottom. And we're gonna slide those beads next to it so that they're sitting nice next to it, like so. So then this is coming out through the bottom. So I'm gonna go up through the last row that I just added. That's gonna make it nice and sturdy. Ooh. Let me see. Hold on a moment. I got that tangled around the power cord. Hold on. All right, and then I'm gonna pull this up, and I hold my work with my thumb and forefinger like so. It's not the best for demonstration purposes because you can actually see through my fingers, but I like to hold them like this so that I can keep the tension. Note on the tension, not too tight because you won't be able to bend it, and not too loose. So you just kind of have to practice, and then you'll eventually get it if you're struggling with that. So I'm going to pick up 2 more of those root beer. Since I'm coming out through the top, I'm going to go up through the bottom. And then I'm going to go down through the top here. And so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to repeat this, adding 2 beads at a time for a total of 6 rows. So I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do it again for number 5. And then I'm going to do it until I get to number 6. All right, so these are the last 2 beads for the 6th row. I'm going to repeat what I just did, the last couple things. And so as I complete this loop, the needle is coming out through the bottom of the 6th row. Okay. So we went in those little circles, and the thread is coming out of the bottom of this right here. All right. So we want to bring this together, make happy family. So we're going to take this, and because this thread is coming out the bottom, we're going to go up through. So I've taken the first row, and this is the 6th row. I'm going to put them side by side like so, and then I'm going to go up through the bottom of the first row, out through the top. And because there's a gap here, I'm going to close that gap up, and I'm going to go down through the 6th row and out through the bottom. All right, and I'm just going to do and repeat that just for fun so that it's nice and sturdy. All right, now this is going to form the foundation of the chenille stitch. So because these are size 6 seed beads, They have a great ample girth in the holes, and you know, that's good because you can pass through multiple times. All right. So this is what you end up with. It doesn't look like anything. It looks like a little wad of seed beads. But you know, whatever. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up. I might do it in these colors instead of the green. All right. So I'm going to pick up one of these kind of yellow butterscotch color. This will be color A. And then this root beer color will be color B. So I'm going to pick up color A, color B, and then another color A. So I have 3 of these, right? So I'm going to go down into so I'm coming up through this right here. I'm coming up, see that's coming up, the thread's coming out through the top of this one. So I'm going to go down to the neighbor and I'm going to go down through that. All right. There's 3 of them. And then I'm going to move over to the next row. I'm going to go up through that and I'm going to pick up an A, a B, and an A. And then I'm going to take this, it's coming out through the top. So I'm going to go down through the next one in the row. And hopefully not get that tangled. And see how you're adding kind of like a picot stitch to the top of this. So I'm coming down through the bottom of this one. So I'm going to go up through that. And I'm going to add one of the A, one of the B, and one of the A. And then I'm going to go down through the next B in that row. All right. So right now it kind of looks like a little crown. All right. See that? It looks like a little crown. All right. So here's the thing. We need to, this is the beginning. It feels hella wobbly. And so we're going to have to reinforce this. But so here's where the real chenille stitch starts happening. So leading up to this part, we have been basically just setting it up for what we need to do. All right. Does that make sense? This is the beginning of it. And now that we have this, then we're going to really kick it into gear and really go into it. So the thread is coming out of the bottom of these 2. Maybe this root beer color wasn't the best choice because I'm looking at it on the camera and it looks really dark and you can't really see it. But anyway, so I'm going to take my needle and go up through the 2 in the row next to it. And I'm also going to go up through that color A bead, that yellow kind of butterscotch bead. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my color B in that same kind of loop. And I'm going to string that in there like so. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up one color A, one color B, and one color A. And then I'm going to go through the next color B. All right. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I have this thread, that tail that I left on there, and it's getting in the way. So just bear with me. I'm going to pick up one color A, one color B, one color A. And I'm going to go through the next bee and the next kind of little petal there. And I'm going to make sure that it doesn't get caught up on anything. And then I'm going to pick up one color A, one color B, one color A, and then I'm going to go up through that color B in that petal that we started with. All right, and that completes the first real row of chenille stitch. All right. So what I'm going to do here to go into the next row, what I need to do is jump up to the next row. So I'm going to go through the color A and then the color B, and then I'm going to be there at the top right there. All right, so I'm going to pick up one color A, one color B, and then one color A. And then I'm going to go through the B in the next petal. And you just repeat this over and over. And at first, it doesn't look like anything at all because, you know, it's still kind of working itself out. So remember what I showed, pick up one A, one B, one A, and go through the next B. And then we're going to repeat that again. So this is really wobbly, but that's usually because I'm showing on a little bit of a bigger, I'm showing these bigger beads. So sometimes it doesn't look like anything until you get a chance to really get further along. All right, so I'm going to go and finish that row by tying that into the B. And now you're starting to see the pattern kind of develop. So to go up to the next row, I'm going to go up through that first A and the B. And then I'm going to pick up an A, a B, and an A. And then I'm going to turn this around, turn this over. And I'm going to go through this one here, the next B, and that kind of petal. Now it's going to feel really loose and kind of like, what the heck is going on? But when you add more, you'll start to develop the pattern and you'll start to see it. And it's kind of like if herringbone and peyote stitch had a baby. Because you've got those kind of gaps that you've got to fill in, but they kind of want to go off to the side. And it's kind of like if Pico Stitch and herringbone and peyote all were in like a throuple or something. All right, so it doesn't look like much right now, but if you keep this up, it will eventually turn into a chenille rope. So to get up to the next one, I go through that A and then the B. And if you want, you can play around and build patterns into your pieces. I'm just showing the basic stitch today because, you know, it gets confusing otherwise if you don't have that basic stem. And you just continue on with this. And I think I messed up maybe. I did. So I messed up. That's all right. So I added two B's next to each other instead of an A and a B. So that's not ideal, but you know, oh well. If I have to take this apart, it's not going to be the end of the world. But I just wanted to get you familiarized with this. And then what what we can do, I don't know if you can see how that's developing or not, but it's turning, like, this is where I messed up. You can see, but it kind of looks like there, you can kind of see it. It's a little weeble wobbly, but it tightens up as you go, I promise. And then whenever you're done and you reach the end, you you add one of these, how we started, and you build that up, and you have that for the closure. You just do this, but in reverse. And then whatever you're ready, you can put a bead here and then run something through there. This is a big enough hole that if you wanted to put beads inside of it, you could put beads inside of it. So then it becomes like a channel. I don't know if this will work or not, but like, you can run those through there, and you can have that be a little peak of color in there, and that will also give it a little bit more rigidity to it. So if you're like, whoa, that feels way too wavy gravy for me, when you do that, you can have that go through the middle of that, and it should work like that, because there's a great big hole in the middle. So what I would do is take some flexible beading wire and use that, just string that up like a regular rope, right down through the middle channel, and there you go. Add a clasp and call it neat. So that's the basics of how to do chenille stitch. That probably, I don't know if that was a very good introduction or not, because the colors are kind of similar. So, um, yeah. If you have questions, let me know. And then you just keep doing this until you get to the length that you want. And then if you start running out of thread, you add another thread, which I showed how to do yesterday. And then, yeah. So I don't know. I can keep going. I don't know if I'm going to still use these colors or not when I'm done. So we'll see. I don't know. Let me think about it. Um, yeah. So if you are watching, I don't know. Well, what I think I'll do is, because all I'm doing is repeating the same thing that I just showed, like, over and over and over and over. And I am happy to hang out and chat. But if you are like, this is all he's doing is showing the same thing over and over, it's just a repetition of that same step. So you just go around, add one A, one B, one A, go through the next B, A, or A, B, A, go through the next B, and then you just keep going until you end the row, and then you jump up to the next row going through the A and the D, and then you just start repeating over and over. So it kind of makes like a little cyclone. And yeah, once you finish, then you can use this as a beaded rope. And it doesn't look like it's very sturdy right now, but once you get everything kind of situated, it becomes way more robust, because you're weaving it back and forth. But I'll finish this up off camera, and then I'll post a picture. Maybe I'll make something as a strap for this. This is kind of heavy duty though, so I might graduate down to a size 8 seed bead. So it's a little bit less king size. But this would make a good bracelet, or if you wanted to have a great big thick rope like that, then feel free. All right. Thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions, let us know. I'll be back tomorrow with something else on Thursday. If you are If there's something you want to see that I didn't show before, even if I have showed it before, I'm not opposed to showing things again. Just let us know, and hopefully we can put it together for you. We always try to be accommodate people, and I'm going to definitely try. I'm going to try to finish a sample up of this. I looked for my sample um, earlier today of this stitch, but I couldn't find it. So I need to work up a finished sample for you so you can see it kind of like in its glory, as opposed to kind of like blah. Um, so anyways, yeah. So I will see you all back here tomorrow around 5 o'clock ish, between 5 and 6 ish. So we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully you have a great rest of your evening. And if there's anything you want to see, let us know. Send us an email at info@allegorygallery.com and we'll try to do it. All right. Have a great night, everyone. See ya.